So tapos na ako magluto mga inol. Ayan, morning. Ayan, sweet and sour na chicken at baboy pinagalo ko. Ayan. Pakpak. Ayan, pakpak. Tapos limpo. Ayan. Ay, limpo pork chop pala. Tapos may nakita kong talong isang piraso, sinama ko ng mga idol yan. Saka yung pinya na ayan, tapos may siling pula. Ayan. Tapos lagyan ko rin ng siling green yan. Pambahay lang ito mga idol, to, pacham. Ayan, pacham lang yan. So kain muna ako mga idol, sandok ko.
The game received pretty good reviews and is still available to play on pretty much every platform. Major is a developed by these people. I think if I read this, I would probably sound like an ancient demon, so I'm not going to do that. But anyway, Major is about a woman who ends up in the purgatory to be tortured and executed and make her way through the strange realm to make it back to her and get revenge on the The game, while it has a pretty cool concept and atmosphere, is notoriously late and bugged, and is currently rated 37% on Steam reviews, which is pretty bad. Works.com was a free online communication platform released by Works Incorporated back in 1995. This is obviously not a horror game, but it might as well be one. From what I can tell, it's not even really a game at all, but it is playable, and no matter what year you play this in, it feels like you're stepping back in time to the mid-90s, which is pretty cool until the graphics start to creep you out a little bit. Although, the graphics aren't as creepy as the fact that this game was notorious for hosting an alleged cult, the Cult of Saturn, which was associated with some pretty devout members who weren't afraid of doxing people and even going to further extremes to their victims in their life. A strange man running around known as Exialis was a terrifying appearance who would stalk random people and teleport them to creepy locations. A vehicular combat game from 1997, Armageddon, developed by Stainless Games, originally started out as a Mad Max video game, but due to being unable to acquire the license, the developers instead opted to make it for the Death Race 2000 IP. The game was a typical racing game with a time limit, but it was unique for the time, as there was alternate ways for beating races, including demolishing all the other vehicles in the level, or killing every pedestrian in the level, which, considering this was 1997, caused a bit of controversy and made this game stand out as rather dark.
Talong to, tama. Temprato sayang, ang lubot na.
Tomato is an FPS slasher where you play as a literal tomato and kill monsters for money. I don't know how anybody could ever kill. No, I don't know. Anyway, it released in December of 2016, and is overall a pretty trippy experience with some creepy visuals, and it's dirt cheap too. So if you ever want to play as a tomato in an FPS game, I guess this is for you. Uninvited is a 1986 point-and-click adventure game in which the protagonist, who I believe isn't actually given a name, wakes up from a car crash and goes to a nearby mansion to look for their missing sibling. They soon find the mansion is haunted and occupied by zombies, hellhounds, and other supernatural creatures. The game focuses on solving puzzles to gradually unlock more of the mansion to find a player's sibling. For those of you who enjoy retro gaming experiences, I believe a more modern version of this game can actually be found on Steam. Free Ice Cream was a 2009 Flash game found on Uber. It's about two little girls being kidnapped and having to escape the house of a crazy chef who is going to murder them. I don't think I need to explain why this one is a tad bit disturbing. It's a scenario that has sadly probably played out in real life before. Published by Super Flash Games in 2012 as a Flash game, Lone Survivor is a 2D post-apocalyptic game your home base and must return to it pretty frequently to sleep and progress. The game has a story with a few different endings. And as always, nothing says creepy like a good post-apocalyptic horror game. I can't lie, probably not as creepy as Free Ice. I think that one might take the cake. This game is such a unique entry to me, as it's not necessarily a game, but an insanely accurate recreation of the assassination of John F. Kennedy. Players get a score based on how accurately they create a real-life assassination. And for a short period after the release, the developers offered a real cash reward to players who could recreate the assassination. I don't think this will surprise anyone, but this game and the cash reward caused a massive controversy back in the day. The developers eventually had to release an apology statement, basically telling everyone that there was no malicious intent or efforts to glorify the event. Despite the harsh criticism of the game, a small section of the fan base actually asked the developers for recreation of other historical events, with the 1997 death of Princess Diana being a particularly popular request. Purgatory is a 2017 JRPG developed by Nama. It follows a girl named Heather, who is peer pressured by another girl named Emma into entering the Purgatory building, which leads her to a bloody place filled with butchered corpses, where she must escape the threat known as Butcher. A remake of the game was released in
Yep.
2024,
Yun lang.
and
Maraming salamat.
3 years earlier.